podcast with your host Sana, where we explore ways to cultivate a more balanced, fulfilling life. I'm your host Sana, as always, and today we have a truly special guest with us, Dr. Barrett Matthews, a media powerhouse with decades of experience across television, radio, books, podcasting, and more. Now, listeners, Dr. Matthews is not just an expert in media, but he's also a visionary leader who helps people amplify their presence and impact the world. But with such a fast paced, high pressure career, how does one manage stress and maintain mindfulness? Although it's a difficult question, but I'm very confident you will get a lot of takeaways from this conversation today. So, we'll be diving into the world of stress management with Dr. Matthews, exploring how to balance productivity with well being. So, let's get quickly started. Dr. Matthews, welcome to the show, and it's an honor having you with us.
No, the honor is mine, Sana. Thank you for having me.
So, you have had such a career spanning across several decades, and that too in different forms of media, right from print, TV, radio, podcast, with such a demanding schedule and the pressure to be always be available. How do you personally manage stress?
Well, it's just funny because it can be a very demanding field. It can be high pressure, and I think it depends on the person who's dealing with it. For instance, with me, I remember when I was an intern. I interned at a TV station in the sports department, and I was running up and down halls with tapes and up and down stairs and so forth. But it was fun to me. I didn't feel burdened, I didn't feel weighed down. It was a rush, I enjoyed it. So, in handling stress, it was just I dove into it actually. I really enjoyed it because and I may come from my sports background of competing, but it was just fun to me to reach those deadlines and just to have fun and to see it come to fruition at the end. I love the production side of it, of working on something and then seeing it come to completion, and it didn't really cause me stress
Mhm.
in that regard. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some positions that
Mhm.
can cause people stress, but I learned a while ago not to internalize them like other people may.
Okay. Okay. So, I totally get that passion. Basically, you are so much passionate that you never take the hustle bustle of this industry as a stress on yourself. So,
That's not oh, wrong. It can affect a lot of people differently. I've known people who have resorted to drugs or alcohol because of the industry. It can be very, very demanding.
hmm, true, that's true. Wow, and that's really a powerful insight. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget to prioritize self care. So, do you have any non-negotiables for stress management? Sometimes you must be feeling like physically tired, or you're just feeling that you are flustered. I mean, do you have any daily activities or rituals that you follow?
Well, yeah, I mean, the first thing I do in the morning is I pray. First thing I do before I even get out of the bed, I start praying and just embrace gratitude. I thank God for allowing me to see another day. I thank God for just giving me the use of my limbs. I thank God for my senses. I thank God for my right mind. And that gratitude helps me to move forward because not that I know a lot of people who have, but I know that there are people waking up in the morning who don't have those things. I know there are people who didn't get to wake up that morning. So I'm just grateful. And that really has a lot to do with me because one of the things that I think a lot of people take for granted, and I'm glad we're having this interview, is they take for granted that their mindset is the most important thing in that, in any type of health situation. And what I did years ago, I mean, probably when I was in my 20s, I started reading books to help me to work on my mindset. And
Mm.
I've always I never was one to get into books, reading fictional books on mysteries or anything like that. I've always read books that are gonna help me grow. and help me feel better, to help me do better. So when I approach things, I approach things from the mindset of how I've trained and conditioned my mind to think in certain situations. So when those things come up, I already know how to react because, as you mentioned, the ritual of just training myself to deal with them. Someone told me a long time ago that your things are going to hit you, and you can't stop it from hitting you, but you can control how long you let it linger. And so I figured, oh, yeah, if something's gonna hit me, if something's gonna devastate me, something's gonna make me upset, I don't have to let that ruin my whole day. And one of my good friends, Dr. Ruben West, I heard him say that there's no such thing as a bad day. There are only bad moments.
That's right. That's right. Have heard it so many times. And when you mentioned about your habit of reading books, which are actually valuable, which will add some value to yourself, and I think there has been a very powerful study done recently on children. Uh, there's one batch of children who are consuming online content, like on social media content, and
Yeah.
they completely devoid of reading anything. Could be a newspaper or a book or something. And then there's one batch of kids who have this habit of reading books. They have habit of reading maybe newspaper, could be yet or anything. So the
Yeah.
communication skills of the second batch are far more better than the
Yeah.
batch of the kids. So, and my father in my childhood, he used to like force upon me that you should read newspapers, you should read books,
Yeah.
because it will improve your communication skills and it will
Oh, definitely.
yeah, I mean, you'll have your thoughts expressed in a better way with clarity.
Yes, and you open yourself up to learning, different ideas, different thoughts. You can't think that you know everything, so someone else can teach you just it could be one little thing that can help change the way you see something and a different viewpoint, a different perspective. And it's something that we all should be learning from each other. So it's just one of those things that can help you. And as far as getting better in life and moving forward, just knowing that there are different ways of seeing things. Because I think if we're so laser focused on one way of seeing things, that a lot of times we limit ourselves, and that can actually cause stress because we're limiting our beliefs and limiting our mind, and we won't open ourselves up to different possibilities.
Exactly, exactly. Also, we talked about physical stress, so it often manifests physically, headaches, fatigue, even serious health issues, heart diseases, digestive problems. So, have you ever experienced any physical effects of stress in your career? And if yes, how?
And I know I have, and thank God I haven't. A friend of mine told me a long time ago, he said, adversity is inevitable, but stress is optional. And I have made it a point in my mind, and I know this may sound odd to some people, but I've made it a point not to stress over things. And the way I do it is I just ask myself, Barrett, can you change this? If I can't change it, why the heck am I going to stress over? And then I say, if I can change it, then change it. So, but don't allow yourself to just live in that negativity because negativity, if you dwell in it, it will overpower you. And so I try to just let myself just like I said, I let it hit me, but I don't linger on it. I don't let it stay there and control my thoughts. I control how I feel because if I do that, it will affect me. I will end up in a hospital bed somewhere. So I know too many people who have had health issues due to stress, and I don't want to be that person. I know people who are younger than me who've had heart attack, younger than me who've had several strokes, and I don't wanna be that person. I know people whose blood pressure is just really an issue, and they're stressing over things, and one of my friends, Sana, she said to me, "Barrett, you're the only person I know who doesn't have any problems." And laughter because I have just as many problems as everyone else. I just choose not to wear them on my sleeve. I choose not to wallow in them because I got just as many things going on in my life as anyone else. It's just that I look at the problem more as a challenge that I have to overcome instead of something that's weighing me down.
Wow. But if we talk about, we look at stress from a different perspective, sometimes things are not in our control. It Stress can be due to some external factors. It can be a workplace, some person in your life, maybe your family or anything which we don't have the choice to maybe let it go. How do you advise to navigate through these kind of situations?
Well, that's a great question. Like currently, right now, with my family, we have people in my family, a few people in my family who have serious health issues that are very close to me. And I know I have other family members who are stressing them. They've told me they're stressing them. I'm not stressing over. And the main reason I'm not stressing, it doesn't mean I don't care. No, of course I care greatly. It just means that I'm not going to let it control my life. One, because I'm not a doctor. And two, I'm not God. So what I can do is be there for them. What I can do is pray for them. What I can do is try my best to help out and if we need any other, things like financially or physically that I can do. But
Mhm.
if I can't do it, there's no need in me stressing over something I'm not capable of doing. For instance, just like someone who has the issue of being perfect all the time.
Yeah.
And I've told people, I said, if I asked you to jump 20 feet in the air, can you do it? And they go, no. I said, what if I gave you like a year to practice? Could you do it? They said, no. I said, okay. Well, do you believe that nobody is perfect? They said, yeah, I believe nobody's perfect. I said, well, if you believe that nobody is perfect, why are you trying to do something that you know you can't do? And the same thing applies. So it's like, if I know I can't heal this person, I
Mhm.
can't do it, then I can't stress myself over them having an illness. I can be concerned, which I am. I can pray that nothing happens to them to make it worse, which I do, but I can't let it consume all of my thoughts, all of my minds to where I can't think straight. Because if they need me to do something for them and I'm not right, what help am I?
True. Makes sense. Makes sense, Dr. Matthews. Okay. Also moving on, um, when we talk about stress management, and as someone who advises high level executives, what strategies do you recommend, Dr. Matthews, for leaders who need to manage their own stress while also supporting their team? So, because it can be really very overwhelming
Yeah.
sometimes.
Find an outlet. Find something fun to do. Like I
Mhm.
like to travel. I like to travel. It's an outlet for me. And 'cause the one thing I love about traveling is that when I go away, no one can pull at me. No one can say, "Hey, Barrett, I need you to do this. I need you." I'm not around. So and that's what I love about traveling. One of the things I enjoy. And of course, I enjoy seeing different sites, learning different things, and so forth. But I advise people. Some people love just going to play golf. Some people love working out. Some people love just binging on something TV or whatever. I don't care what it is. Whatever it is that gets your mind away from the environment that is trying to pour all that stuff on you, get away from it for a while and just learn to have an outlet and enjoy yourself. Because if you don't, it will consume you and it will take you down. It will take you down hard, and you don't want that happening. So make sure that you're doing something that's more of an outlet, and also be mindful of what's going on with your body. Meaning that if you notice that your body is not functioning the way it should, get
Mhm.
that checked out. Get it checked out and see how you can work on it and see how you can make it better for yourself. And I'm not talking about, taking drugs and medicine all day long. Something natural that you can do to figure out because I'm saying that only because there are a lot of people that do that as a band-aid, but it's not fixing the problem. So I do something that's gonna fix the problem, and then you can move on and enjoy your life, but please don't let the work that you do, especially those leaders, don't let that work consume you. Do something with your team that's fun too.
Yep.
Let them enjoy. But here's a little thing. If you're a leader, take your team somewhere where you can do something fun. Take them outside of the workplace. Do something fun together. A retreat maybe, or just I don't care if it's an amusement park. Do something fun. Because if these people see you as someone who can enjoy themselves, they will be more happy with the work that they do and enjoying themselves. So just have some type of outlet for everyone, and that can open things up for the whole workplace, your whole workload, the whole environment, the productivity, and so forth. It can definitely help you if you do that.
So it's I think it's more about how you can control stress. It's learning about how to control it rather than letting it control you. I think this whole conversation can be summarized in this.
It's really about whether you even let it in.
Yeah.
See, you don't have the choice. I'll give an example because that's what I use on myself. When I was younger, I remember this specifically. I was driving and I got a flat tire.
Okay.
And I pulled over, I changed the tire, but I was so mad that I got a flat tire. And that whole day, I was just mad. Now, the funny thing is, the tire was changed, but I was just mad over that flat tire. Fast forward, years later, I remember I was driving, I had a flat tire. I changed the tire. I moved on with my day. Never thought about it again. What's the difference? It's just that I made a decision the second time not to let it control me. I didn't let it in. So, and that's the thing. Stress is like I said earlier, ad- adversity is inevitable, but stress is optional. But stress is the adversity that we allow to get inside us. You have there are things I can guarantee you, Sila, that in your life, years ago, you let it bother you, but today it doesn't bother you. We all have stuff like that. But we made a decision. I'm not going to let that bother me anymore. And you have that same choice. There are some people who let everything bother them. And that's when the stress gets in. And a lot of people I found, I don't know if you find this too, but a lot of people they kind of embrace stress. And you know what I mean? They tell you, I'm gonna be stressing over this or and I'm like, how do you know you're gonna be stressing over something? And I don't get it. They welcome it. And I can't relate to that type of mentality.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. So before we wrap up, Dr. Matthews, if someone listening today to this conversation is completely overwhelmed and doesn't know where to start, what's that first step they should take to get their stress under control or even prevent it?
I would say start reading books on how to improve your mindset. I
Mhm.
would say look at the circle of people that you're around, and some of them may be family, but you need to be around a group of people that does not promote you stress. They don't promote stress. And someone once told me, if you can't change your friends, you have to change your friends. And so that goes for family too. Sometimes you just can't be around and because they're not healthy for you. And I know it may be hard to do for people because we've been taught that you always got to be around, but you should never be around anyone that's going to be negative towards you. So you have to just make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people, thoughts, listening, reading, everything that's positive because it takes work. Like I said, my mindset is different than a lot of people, but I worked at it and I still do work at it all the time.
Hmm. Great. I think that's incredibly practical advice. And if our listeners would wish to reach out to you and explore more of your wisdom on stress management, how they can do that.
I just find it on LinkedIn. It's Barrett Matthews on LinkedIn. You can find me right there. It's a great place to meet.
Great. We'll have the details mentioned in the show notes. And Dr. Matthews, thank you so much. I think this conversation has been incredibly insightful, unique.
Thank you.
We have definitely, uh, you know, gotten a glimpse of a different take on stress management because until now it's all about having this stress, having that stress, and I'm going through it.
I figured it'd be a little different.
Yeah, yeah. So, thank you to you. And I think for our listeners, I hope this episode has given all of them some practical strategies to manage stress in their own lives. So, listeners, if you want to learn more about Barrett Matthews and his work, you can find him on LinkedIn. We'll have the details in the show notes along with this episode. And to add on from my end, I think mindfulness isn't about eliminating stress. It's more about learning how to navigate it with intention. So until next time, take a deep breath, stay present, and keep living mindfully. This is your host, Sana, and I'll see you in the next episode of Mindful Living. Thank you.